In this lesson, we'll focus on creating a new Spring Boot project that uses Gradle as a build tool. To get started, we're going to click on the File menu item, and then we'll navigate to New and select the Spring Starter Project. This will open up a new Spring Starter Project dialog, and here we can specify the name of our project. We're going to name our project starter-project-Gradle, and we're going to ensure that the Gradle build ship option is selected for the type. And this specifies that we'd like to use Gradle as our build tool, and we're going to use the build ship tooling within STS. We'll specify our group ID as com.o'reilly.boot, and we'll make sure the artifact ID matches our project's name. So make sure the artifact ID is starter-project-Gradle. Finally, you'll want to make sure that the package is com.o'reilly.boot. With these configurations in place, go ahead and click on Next. And now we're going to select the web dependency for our project. It's going to be a Spring MVC project. So we'll select that option and hit Next. Now here you'll see the URL that's going to be visited in order to download our project and import it into STS. So go ahead and hit Finish, and you'll see that STS will begin to synchronize our workspace and pull in our project. Now the first thing you should notice is that our project now appears within the Gradle Tasks tab, and we are exposed to all of the tasks that we can execute as far as our Gradle build is concerned. So we'll talk a little bit more about these in later lessons. The other thing we're going to take a look at is within the Package Explorer, there is a build.gradle file. The build.gradle file is very similar to like a pom.xml file in that it contains all of the configuration for our project's build. So let's go ahead and open that file, and we're going to pay particular attention to a configuration at the bottom of that file. And that's the specification of this wrapper task. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what this wrapper task does for our project and how it is a real benefit to building our Gradle project. So to proceed with our discussion of the Gradle wrapper, we'll open a terminal using the quick access bar within the STS IDE. So just type in terminal and you'll be able to choose the terminal view. And this is going to open what is essentially a command line to your local machine. You'll notice the small icon will allow you to open a terminal and just select the local terminal and proceed. So here I have what is essentially a CMD window or a command line within Windows. Now, the first thing I'd like to demonstrate is that if I were to issue a Gradle command, so here is the command for Gradle to show its version information, the command is not recognized. Well, why is that? Normally, when we work with a tool, we have to install it on our computer. For a lot of build tools, you'll perform the installation and then you'll add some bin directory to the path, and that allows you to invoke the tool on the command line. Well, this creates some extra work for people that want to build our application. First, they have to proceed with installing the tool, and then second, they need to make sure they have the right version of the tool installed, or they may not properly build our software. So here's where the Gradle wrapper is really unique in that it solves those problems for us in the fact that we have specified the Gradle wrapper within our build.gradle file. So here we see that we're specifying to use version 2.12 of the Gradle wrapper, and it's going to be pulled in for use by our project. So if we navigate back to our terminal And we can head to the desktop, and then within the desktop, we'll navigate to our STS workspace. And inside this directory, we can navigate to our starter project Gradle directory, and that's going to contain our project. You'll notice if we look within that directory, you'll see the Gradle W application there. And Gradle W stands for the Gradle wrapper. So essentially, our project has Gradle installed within it, and it has the appropriate version. So if I were to issue the Gradle W-V command, it will go ahead and invoke that Gradle command on the internally installed version of Gradle. And that's because we specified that version within our wrapper. When we use the Gradle wrapper, we can execute Gradle commands from the root of our project. And remember that each wrapper is tied to a specific version of Gradle, so everybody building our project will have the appropriate distribution. With the Gradle wrapper in place, we can go ahead and run our Spring Boot application by invoking the boot run task. And once we invoke that task using Gradle or the Gradle wrapper, you will see that our project will begin to build and eventually will run. So there we see the ASCII art for Spring Boot, and our project begins to set up, and eventually we will have a running Spring Boot application. There you can see Tomcat has started on port 8080, so our application would be able to service requests at this point. So in this lesson, we built out a Spring Boot project that uses Gradle as a build tool, and we took a closer look at the Gradle wrapper to see the benefits that it provides to developers looking to build software.